Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ljubljana Talks. Today, with me, Jan Oršič, we have Gorazd from Tolerance Marketing and Mr. Tomaž Ambrožič from the director of Media Sport Focus Agency. And we're going to be talking about a different type of events altogether again. Here we go.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Also, on my behalf. Tomaž, can you share a little bit about a story about how you started actually with the Sporto, which is a well-established brand on the market. But it's better that you explain what is Sporto and how you started with the whole idea.
Yeah, thank you. Hello to everyone, and thank you for the invitation for these talks. I'm working in the sports marketing agency. We established the agency together with my colleagues in 1997. In the time when maybe sports marketing were quite different than it is today, because maybe a little bit more old-fashioned without digital medias, without social media. Since Slovenia is a small market, we depend a lot in the past from, let's say, from the common Yugoslavian market, where sports was always very important part of the society. But a lot of money who went into this sport went through donations, through the way that some decision makers support the sport, some athletes, but was not real marketing, was not real business case behind, not a calculation about return on investment. So, and then when we started to work was as an agency, young agency with a lot of ideas, looking to other markets, how everything works in Germany, in UK, in Italy, we saw that, first of all, we need a lot of know-how. This sports marketing is an area where we are not able to study this, at least not that time on the university.
Well, this is similar to what we are doing to the dance industry.
Exactly. So that's why we said, look, we need to bring this know-how to Slovenia. We need to bring some good cases to show that sports marketing really works. So it's investment when you could get some return on investment if you do it properly, if you do it on the right way. So this is in 2004. We started with the first edition. Actually, that was the first event ever in the Austria Trend Hotel in Ljubljana. It was totally new hotel, even before their official opening. In I think it was December 2004. So it was a big event. For the first time, we had around 150 participants, what was a good number. So we were quite happy. And from the beginning, we didn't want to focus only on Slovenia, but on the region. Let's say also Croatia and some territories from ex-Yugoslavia. But okay, maybe we said maybe in the future we'll be able to attract maybe also someone from Hungary, Austria, Italy. So this is how we started. For the second year, we went to Croatia, to Zagreb, because we said, let's try to do regional conference. But then we saw that actually Slovenia was quite much more developed in terms of sports marketing than other parts of common ex-country. And then we said, okay, maybe it's too soon for Croatia, too soon for Serbia. Let's stay in Slovenia for time, and then we will see. And then we stayed in Slovenia. We go around the country to different areas where they were hosting sports events like Maribor, Kranjska Gora. Then we went to Portorož. And then everybody liked Portorož so much, so we said, okay, let's stay for a while in Portorož. And then we came last year after Corona back to Ljubljana. Yeah.
And it was an awesome event.
Yeah, it
really,
was
really awesome.
Great event. And okay, so this is, it was an idea. It helps to our agency to work what we do. It's not an event, we're doing this for business, we're doing this for somehow to educate ourselves as well, and to educate our clients, the industry, the federation, the clubs, organizer of the events. And I must say that we developed the brand. Sporto became a brand. We became fully international event, only in English, no translator. So let's say 95% of speakers are coming from outside of Slovenia. And people our participants like the way how we're doing. Also the speakers, they like to return. They are surprised when they came. They also surprised. They said to us about the enthusiasm of our participants, because they really want to listen. They want to learn. It's not let's say, a business conference, like maybe it's not done in the industrial way. So just to do it, it's more about also to come together, to exchange ideas, to have always a good party for the people in the industry, because this is important.
But you use the venue in a creative way. That's a category. Creative use of space goes to you, actually. So maybe you can explain more about it. So it was a stadium, just to let you know. But
actually, because of the corona, everything changed. And during that time, we organized one conference on a digital, just like everybody else, because that was the only way to continue. And I must say it was good, because we had listeners from all over the world, and we were able to attract even some speakers who usually will not be able to attend to our conference, like owner of Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban. He immediately responded to our invitation to be online with us. Or, for example, Arsene Wenger, famous Arsenal coach and now FIFA technical director. But after 1 year, we said, okay, let's go back to the normal form of the conference. And since we said, okay, we were able to invite the UEFA president, what is also always an honor for us to have such a kind of speaker on the conference. And we said, okay, but let's do it a little bit different, not to have a conference with him. Let's invite also the second most influential person in the world of football. It's a Paris Saint-Germain owner and president now.
It's a wall of fame what you are doing in these years, actually. You can build up a wall of fame. It's a history of sport, actually, there.
Yeah.
This is how I see it, actually. So.
No, we were quite surprised, because when we contact Mr. Al-Khalifi, they said to us that he was never on the conference together with Mr. Chefrin at the same time. So it was for the first time. So, but he accepted our invitation. He said, because our idea was to put both of them together under one table and to discuss the future of football, because of all those ideas, Super Leagues. And now he took over Andrea Agnelli from Juventus, who was president of European Club Association. And actually both like this idea. And then we said, of course, we need to go to the stadium, not to the normal conference hall.
It's brilliant. And I find it so interesting, because we're having a conversation where we're talking about sports, and we're talking about conferences, and we're talking about bringing a conference to a football stadium. So we're talking about unconferencing, all these topics that kind of come together. And what we've been also talking about, the same kind of issues that you have with digital marketing, this understanding of the sport, the business behind the sports. It's very similar to the business behind the meetings, and the issues of education and promotion and giving out the understanding of what we're trying to do and achieve and develop. And I just was thinking, how do you see this world of organizing these special events come together with the industry that we would generalize the meetings industry, right? Because there's a lot of services that all of a sudden come together when you're organizing an event such as Porto.
It's, just like in any industry, also in the sport industry, people want to socialize with the people who are doing similar businesses. Not only, important part, of course, to exchange knowledge, to exchange ideas, but what we saw in the past, that this gathering, get-together, the party at those kind of event was really becoming very, very important. So people said, okay, because our party in the past, Porto party, became quite famous, because we always bring good musicians. It was a good atmosphere, and it's really funny. But people told us that they made businesses at 1 o'clock in the morning, because everybody were relaxed, and you have you drink a beer, you listen to music. But this is the atmosphere where you could really do you could develop big ideas. The people are more open. If you know how to discuss with them, then, I will never remember, it was once, 10 years ago, we had a great conversation with a guy who came from Liverpool Football Club, and he was so enthusiastic about our party, so we developed a bunch of ideas. On the other hand, we had a head of global marketing sponsorship at Castrol from UK, and he came to our conference and he met Petra Majdic, few years after he won this medal at the Vancouver Olympics.
The legendary one.
The legendary one.
the
And he was so impressed that he was able to speak with her in person, to meet her. So he canceled the flight next day. He said, I want to stay one more day here because it's something unbelievable. So we also know how to present Slovenian sport identity. So we always invited some athletes, famous athletes. For example, we have Dejan Zavec once. He was a professional world champion in boxing. And for some speakers, that was unbelievable that they were able to meet this kind of athletes.
And now he's a politician.
No, but this is this. I mean, maybe we really did this, organize those events in a little bit different way because we were not only event organizer. We are the agency. We are living from this business. So we know how important it is.
If I can feel you, it's really a passion. Huh?
Yeah, it must be a passion. It's just like everywhere. Without a passion, you can't be good in anything. If you just want to do it. But this passion was recognized by speakers, and for us, always the best. Award was that those speakers who were used to go all over the world to speak at the conference in bigger cities, bigger countries, they recognized this atmosphere, this relaxed atmosphere, but at the same time, very passionate atmosphere. You want to do something big, to create, to connect brands between. For example, for me, it was great that we had a head of sponsorship at UEFA like 8 years ago. And when he came to our conference, he said, yeah, but I will have a meeting with a representative for Western Union, who was also speaker, because we are a sponsor and we want to prolong the contract. So everything happened on our conference, So that's good that was good for us because we built reputation on it. And that's why today I would not say we don't have a problem. We always receive very positive feedbacks from people who are top in the industry, and that's good for for development of Slovenian sports marketing industry, for Slovenian sport, that they recognize that in Slovenia we don't have only good athletes, world-class athletes, but we also have Alexander Čeferin as a UEFA president. We also have great event organizer in Planica, in some Eurobasket, volleyball, big events. So that's good for the industry here, economy, for the tourism, for everything.
But you use the word sport industry a lot, and we are using the word meetings industry, as Jan said before. How would you define the sport industry? Because this is interesting to us to learn from you. Is there any definition at all? Or
I think that industry is all different fields which are connected with the sport and behind the sport, because sport, it's not only the athletes. Of course, they're the most important. Without them, there is nothing. But they need a lot of support, logistic, even, I don't know, it's not only media, it's not only sponsors, it's there are volunteers, there are hotels. Actually, this is important. All this hospitality industry behind the big sporting events is crucial. Without this, I know, for example, that sometimes here in Slovenia, we're not even prepared totally for big events. Because, for example, now I know that for the Nordic World Championship with Planica, a lot of fans will stay in Austria or Italy, because nobody thought that maybe once we will host this kind of event, you need to have enough accommodations, enough hotels for this. But it's we like to use this industry because globally, we see that sports industry is one of the faster growing industry. Maybe because of media rights, maybe because of huge sponsorship deals. But there are so many companies who are focusing only on one area to support those events, or clubs. Not only PR, it's sponsoring, it's different kind of measurements. Transport, so it's really wide industry. But they all are interested to bring, let's say, big events, to host events. Then, because I remember when we had these events in 2013, Eurobasket, Slovene Basketball Federation organized a local organizing committee, and they invited us from different areas. From catering, for example, was Jezeršek Catering was part of the LOC, because they need to think upfront about how how to provide food for the volunteers, for the staff, for the athletes, for all the people who will work there, for the hospitality. And then there were people from transport company, logistic, because a lot of teams, a lot of journalists, a lot of sponsors, a lot of fans needs to be driven from one part for different levels. So we saw it's a really big industry. We had the meetings. LOC we were around 30% inside the LOC from IT industry, because it is really important to have a strong IT support. Absolutely. So
it's very similar, you know, because when we say meet, I think actually the sporting industry, especially this part, actually fits into the meetings industry. I'm not saying it as a. I'm just talking about the expression that kind of sums it all up, from the catering companies to the logistic companies to the lighting setup to the stage setup.
Absolutely.
And I would actually dare to go a step further, because, you know, in our definition, the meetings industry is divided amongst the corporate events, which in a way, a lot of sporting events actually are done by corporates, and of course associations. And most of the clubs are part of associations. FIFA is an association, UEFA is an association. These are all associations, and they have, you know, the same regulation as a medical association. The difference is they use a different venue. They don't use the Cankarjev Dom or GR here in Ljubljana. They will use, you know, Stožice, And it's a very similar, very compatible thing, and it's a part of the strategy that we've been developing.
Maybe the only difference is that those sport events attract a lot of fans, you know, who are not, let's say, I mean, they're not active in a way that they're organizing. They're more passive, but most important, because without fans, nobody will organize. It's not just like an event in meeting industry. You meet with a purpose to discuss and to meet. Here is a little bit different, but this is huge advantage, because you could have visitors or fans from all over the world globally. Some of them came to our country just because of this event, and they came later back as a tourist.
Of course, and the promotion, of course, if you have a TV or you have all the stuff that is created in social media and so on.
One provocation, Tomaž. Who is, in your mind, your opinion, the biggest event organizer in the world? This is a question I'm asking always. By your opinion.
Well, I would say that probably International Olympic Committee. I would say that Olympic Games are.
I used to say Red Bull. That's why it was a provocation.
Okay, Red Bull. It's definitely someone who are doing this differently, who is approaching this industry from different perspective as well, because they're doing because of their brand, and they're very innovative and totally different. But probably International Olympic Committee, FIFA, UEFA, those events are, because it's every 2 years, 4 years. With a lot of fans coming together. Now we could see in Qatar, you know, all the globe is coming there, people from all over the world. And I mean, also we could see how, for example, hosting the World Cup, FIFA World Cup, become very political issue. So all the big countries, it's not only about hosting sporting events anymore. It's much more about showing the power. You know, now we had Russia before, now we have Middle East. Next time is United States. Again, Saudi Arabia wants to host it 2030. So it's...
in connection with event business, there are just few agencies doing all the openings for the last 15 years, actually. One is from Italy, another one from UK. So this is also a kind of connection we have, but basically it's so demanding and so big that just the really big players can deliver such a level of service they are demanding, actually.
It's a really fascinating part of the whole, you know, landscape of events, sporting events, competitions. But tell me one thing, looking back, right? You said you started 1997, and looking at what has happened just in Ljubljana in the last year and a half, through COVID, kind of the number of events that are taking place in our destination, how do you see this kind of a blossoming? Will it continue? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I believe so, because first of all, when Ljubljana got Stožice complex in 2010, immediately this shows that how big is the needs for this kind of complexes with arena, with a stadium. I mean, it could be developed even further, not only for sporting events. Okay, the music events are already there, but I saw somewhere also they are organizing some fairs, some different events in the sporting halls or stadiums. But definitely Ljubljana now could really show it's really also sportive city, because sport was always important part of the Ljubljana, and I must say that just the latest big event we had, let's say really big, was World Championship in volleyball, and we just had some debrief meeting with World Volleyball Federation, and they compare Ljubljana with Poland, which was the other co-host. They said you can't compare it because what you did here, it was uncomparable with Poland. The whole atmosphere, it's totally different because the city is different. The atmosphere is different. It's much more open. So Poland, they hosted the final, the semifinals, but the people from the World Volleyball Federation said this is not the same. Here you showed in different way. Also the hotels, the city, everything was different. But maybe because we are as Ljubljana not too big city, it's also an advantage. Everything is almost walking distance. We are not you're not in Paris. You don't know how to come from one part of the city to another part. So everything is close together. That's why also I think that the people are different here.
Because we had these discussions already, as you are a part of the consortium that we have at Ljubljana Tourism. I want to ask you precisely this. If Ljubljana, for certain sporting events, we know we have a great potential that perhaps we haven't even tapped into, but at the same time there has been a lot of conversation about bringing a practice camp to the destination, but we know there are certain limitations. Where do you see, where should we go from here?
I think that events in the arena, indoor events like basketball, volleyball, handball, this is something what Ljubljana could definitely host on the top level, European-wise, maybe on World Championship. Of course, football, we don't have a stadium for 50,000 people, so this is some limit we have. But on the other side, I think Ljubljana, the perception of the people also, which I met in this industry, it's a really attractive as a tourist destination. So for people who wants to come for the not only training camp, but for example, some senior competitions, some former athletes who occasionally go to the World Championship of former athletes in different sports. Ljubljana is ideal because they could always combine to have a great time and to participate on some event. I think the last event you had, it was a badminton World Championship for the let's say older former player. I think this is veterans. This is veterans. This is something where there's a lot of space here. We have infrastructure for this. We have a lot of hotels, and people want then to have a good time, to go out, to have good food, good restaurants.
Kind of pleasure thing.
Pleasure to combine
business and leisure, sports and leisure.
Absolutely.
And badminton had an amazing effect because they came in August, and it was over 1,000 people, and they just filled up every vacancy that was there.
Unbelievable. Nobody knows
really
about
amazing.
it, more or less.
No, I think also for the fans is important. Fans are coming to going to those cities where they could really have a good food. They heard good things about Ljubljana, and I think combining, we saw this with the Eurobasket 2030, where we worked together with Jezerska Catering, that the food is so important part of big sporting events. When people enjoy the good food, the good wine, the good drinks, the good atmosphere, they want to come back. They want to taste different opportunities. So Ljubljana could offer all those things. That's why I think, especially some former athletes who are now maybe 40, 50, who are not active anymore, but they still want to practice their sport, that's perfect. But you need to combine this with some big events like European basketball, handball, volleyball. This is we could reach this. We can't go above this. We won't be able to host Olympics.
That's enough, probably.
That's for the city, yeah. But what are your plans for the sport and for your company? Can you share some secrets for the next year event?
Actually, because of really good feedbacks and good experience with this sport stadium experience, actually we were invited by Planica, the organizer World's Nordic Ski Championship, which will take place in February here in Planica. They actually said, come to us, let's have a winter edition. We had a stadium edition, now we have a winter edition. So they will host us in their VIP lounge in Planica on the first day of the championship.
Wow.
For us, it's important to be where the biggest sporting events are taking place. So for the first time in February, we'll have it in Planica. We already received some invitations also from outside of Slovenia, because they said, okay, came to Hungary, to Budapest, we want to do it, something, we don't have something like you have here. So I don't know, we didn't discuss this yet. We want to stay because here in Slovenia, because really our participants from outside Slovenia are always happy to come here, because they said, okay, even we were before the Portorož or Ljubljana, that's a great place. You could go out. I will not forget this year, actually in June, we had speakers from UK, from Austria, from Germany, from United States, and after the conference, we went with them to Nebo, to the place restaurant, and they met Goran Dragic there, and so they said, "Wow, it's no unbelievable, you know."
It's what we talk about to everybody, not taking us seriously.
And there was a guy from United States. He stayed in Austria Trent Hotel, and he went in the morning to the fitness in the morning, and he saw Luka Doncic there, and he said that's unbelievable, for someone who came from United States. He's staying in the hotel for the Sporto conference, and he met Luka Doncic next to him in the fitness. So, I mean, this is
unforgettable.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Tomaž, simple questions. Car or train?
Actually, no, I like trains. I just don't use them a lot, but I would not forget last time I really enjoyed the train. I went to Tour de France. I went from Trieste to Switzerland with a fast train, Frecciarossa, from Venezia to Milano, and then from Milano to Nyon, actually. Then by car, somebody drove me to the Tour de France 3 years ago, and that was perfect. I mean,
Perfect. Yeah.
The train, but unfortunately in Slovenia we are too small, so okay. I'm not using.
The next one is sea or mountain?
I would say sea.
Okay. Can you explain this?
I don't know. It's. I actually enjoyed mountain. I'm enjoying the mountain a lot. So I'm just 2 years ago, we went with the family to Triglav to spend 3 days there. It was for me one of the best experience. Even we lost ourselves a little bit, and the kids and my wife were not very happy because we walked 3 days fully around. We made about 30 kilometers in those 3 days. But for me, it was great at the end when you're really tired. We are fed up with walking too much. But when you did something like this, you're proud, And absolutely. It was not for the first time for me, but it was a great experience. But still, I still prefer to go to the sea because I don't know. It's
one more.
Yeah.
Croatia or Argentina? This is a very short one.
I would say Croatia. I'll tell you why, because I think that they're great inspiration for all, especially for small countries. Because with 4 million people, we are 2 million. We always are searching for inspiration.
Sometimes we're talking about football, if you want to follow that.
Because we always have in our mind and our heads some limitations. No, we cannot do this. We cannot do this. But we could see in sport. Our national team became a European champion in basketball. Nobody expected that we could do this. Tadej Pogačar won Tour de France twice. Nobody expected this. So Croatia were 2 times in 4 years in semifinals. This is unbelievable. I think that's good for everyone in sports because sport shows that it's not about numbers. It's about really the passion. It's just like in any industry. And I think that Croatians really show this passion for the sport. That's why they're successful.
Absolutely agree.
I have one. Indoor or outdoor?
I would say outdoor. Because it's fresh air and the sun. It's always a trek to go outside.
Cool. Tomaž, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching us. Let's get ready for the match. It's an interesting evening. It will be an interesting evening. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel. And see you soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.